Israel has launched an attack on Iran, likely targeting Iran's nuclear sites.
In the early hours of today, that is June 13, Israel has struck Iran, and not just struck Iran, it has struck its nuclear sites. The long-standing animosity between Israel and Iran has taken a new turn, and all the diplomatic efforts which were taking place have finally collapsed. We need to understand all the dimensions related to it. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and today we will be understanding not just this incident but also the background related to it, the repercussions and consequences that the globe and India is going to see from this air missile strike that Israel has done on Iran. So let's start by understanding how this conflict has renewed. So the long-standing conflict, animosity between Iran and Israel has been over multiple reasons. We will try to understand those reasons as well. But in recent times, multiple diplomatic solutions were offered, multiple diplomatic talks, multiple diplomatic triggers were taking place, but finally it comes to an end once this airstrike took place. So Israelis in the early morning of June 13 have targeted the nuclear sites and military sites in Iran, and multiple bombings have been heard in the capital of Iran, that is Tehran as well. Israeli officials at present have clearly claimed that this has been done to address the fact that Iran was just few days away from a nuclear breakout. Now, Israel struck, Iran was not going to stop there. In response to this, Iran has launched already 100 drones and missiles towards Israel, and Iran is also very clear that on the fact that it is not going to stand back on the attempt that has been made by Israel. Now, Iranian air defenses have been already activated after this strike, and there is a situation of emergency as well in the Israel. Because Israel started this particular renewed conflict, there has been a national alert which has been declared, and the citizens have been urged, they have been asked to be prepared for extended conflict. Iron Dome is activated, as well as shelters to make sure if there is any exigency or extended war-like situations, citizens can be protected. This is what the situation looks like as of now. But we also need to understand here what has been the reason that this has come to it. What have been the causes that Iran are fighting at this extent, and there have been preemptive strikes early in the morning by Israel. So let us get into that and let us try to understand what are the causes that have led to the situation that we see today. So definitely we'll start with the historical perspective or the historical shift that have been seen, that was post 1979. So basically Iran turned away from Israel's ally under Shah. So Iran under Shah separated itself from being Israel's ally, and it became openly hostile Islamic Republic. Now, this historical shift basically started the rift that has become a conflict in present times. This was the reason that all that we are seeing today basically initiated. Now, when we come to present time and we look into other factors also, when we come to other factors such as religious and ideological divisions as well, there have been a drift. For example, you can clearly see that Iran is a Shia Islamic theocracy. However, when we talk about Israel, it is a Jewish democratic state. So they are not only different based on religion, but they are going very different ways in terms of the way the state and the polity looks like in the both nations. Apart from that, there have always been very deep-rooted religious as well as political mistrust between both of these nations. It's not like if there are religious and ideological differences, nations cannot be friends. They can be. They can have trust. They can have political based agendas and givings towards each other, but not in this scenario. This religious and ideological difference has further fueled the political mistrust and religious mistrust that we see here. Apart from this, we have also seen that Israeli-Palestinian conflict or the Israel-Hamas ongoing war is also a contributing factor between the conflict in Israel and Iran. How come? Because here Iran is the one which supports the militant groups like Hamas and Hezbollah, which are the major drivers of the ongoing war. And Iran has been calling for Israel's destruction all this time, which will directly, if not anything, fuel animosity. So this animosity has been fueling by each other's actions as well. Iran has been very clear where it has called for Israel's destruction and its clear support to militant groups such as Hamas and Hezbollah. Israel basically sees these groups, Hamas and Hezbollah, as major security threats to its own sovereignty, and that is why they come to another standoff on these terms. That is not the end of the list. There is more. There always has been a geopolitical rivalry as well. They have been competing for the regional dominance. They have always had opposing roles, be it in Syria, be it in Yemen, and they have been supporting different parties in the conflicts that we have seen in these nations. Apart from that, we have also seen there are strategic as well as regional tensions that have existed. For example, Iran's nuclear program. Under Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which has been supported by P5+1, so that Iran can carry out its nuclear program under international purview, and to make sure that gradually the sanctions on Iran are uplifted. Now, of course, if Iran is able to build up its nuclear program, it is a threat to Israel, and Israel sees it as an existential threat. Now, this is what makes them engage in covert actions to block each other's capability, and this particular strike today that has taken place is one such step where Israel is trying to destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities, and as per Israel, as they're clear that Iran was few days away from a nuclear breakout. Now, other strategic and regional tensions that we see has also been related to proxy conflict. Iran, as I've mentioned, that backs Hamas and Hezbollah militant groups. It also is responsible for backing Shia militias in Iraq. Now, Shia militias in Iraq is again, they are trying to create conflicts in places where they are not supposed to be present. So, Iran is also going in for proxy conflict. Israel is not also holding back. Israel counters this through military strikes and intelligence op, be it the pager attack, be it the killings of a nuclear scientist of Iran. All such incidents that have taken in past that have been done to make sure that destruction of each other's capabilities is taking place. Other reasons that we are seeing here is basically the regional power struggles that are going on. If we talk about Iran and its allies against the Israel and its allies, Israel, if you're talking its allies being US, some Gulf nations, this regional war that is existing, there are arm races, cyber warfare, diplomatic standoffs which lead to escalated tensions, and there is an ongoing cycle where Israel and Iran both are retaliating and both are engaging in direct conflict. These are multiple reasons which have led to the situation that we see today, and we are in a situation where we can safely say it is at brink of another war in 2025. Basically, Israel has clearly pushed for military action against Iran's nuclear program. However, Israel's ally, US, that is President Donald Trump, chose diplomacy. But this diplomatic effort, the talks failed after Iran decided and it refused to stop its enrichment. On June 12, clear warning was given from the US President Donald Trump that Israel might strike, and it would be important to make sure that we are making diplomatic efforts or we are engaging in conversation, diplomatic talks. And that is what happened. June 13, early hours, Israel launched direct strike on Iran. Dozens of nuclear and military sites were hit. Dozens of nuclear and military sites were hit. Now that we have understood the background as well, we have understood the current situation as well, let us move ahead and talk about what are the consequences that we are clearly going to see on the global economy. The first and the obvious one, I hope you have guessed here, that we will see oil price surge. Every time there is a problem, a conflict, a minor issue in West Asia, Middle East Asia, there is an impact on oil prices. This conflict in Persian Gulf will clearly hit the trade and oil that is taking place in the major shipping lanes, be it Strait of Hormuz, and here we will be seeing global oil prices spiking because there is fear of supply disruption in coming days. Now, this will not just hurt one nation that Israel or Iran is working against, but rather it will hurt every nation in the global order because of the high fuel prices. Apart from that, we'll also find that the trade and shipping disruptions will take place. An attack on Red Sea or Gulf shipping lanes can be expected, and it can cause delays in international cargo. Insurance costs will rise, logistics cost will rise, and again it will hurt the global order, where it will be affecting the trade across the globe. Apart from that, there will be a lot of market volatility. If you go and see the stock market today, it has already taken a hit, and investor sentiment will remain damped because of the uncertainty that we are going to see because of this war. And global stock market will experience very strong fluctuations in coming days, and investors will shift towards precious heavy metals, safe havens such as gold, silver, which will push their prices as well. This is going to affect in multiple directions, as you can see. Apart from that, regional economies will also continue to suffer in that very area, be it Lebanon, be it Iraq, be it Syria. They will also face direct economic shocks. The refugees will start inflowing to the neighboring countries, and this will lead to disruption in this very region as well. Apart from that, we will also have importance of global diplomacy. But this diplomacy will remain under strain because it would be difficult for nations to find a site. For example, India has very strong ties, diplomatic ties with Israel as well as Iran. It will put global diplomacy under strain. For example, UNSC has divisions which are stalling coordinated response. Diplomatic pressure is increasing on US, EU and China to mediate. So this all clearly shows that this war, any war, never brings anything good, but we are pointing out what are the major things that would be affected in the global order. Now let us talk about our own country. What are the direct implications we are going to face because of this particular strike? which seems the starting of a war. The first thing is obviously going to be the economic impact, the possible disruption of oil supply. The supply disruption that we were talking for a global economic order is applicable for India as well, because the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this is a question for you. Can you tell me where is the geographical location of Strait of Hormuz? Now, Strait of Hormuz, this disruption will cause a lot to India, because India imports 2 million barrels a day. Rising oil prices will increase the load on the state's exchequer. It will cause inflation. It will result in more imports, and there will be a big economic strain on our economy. Apart from that, we will also see that there will be a problem, a concern related to safety of Indian diaspora. So, millions of Indians reside in the Gulf region, and it would be definitely one of the important things in consideration to bring back these people safely, and there will be a potential need for evacuation, just like it was carried out in Kuwait in 1990, or you can see the recent one, Ukraine, that is 2022. Apart from that, another implication that we would see would be the risk associated with trade and connectivity. When we are talking about trade and connectivity, trade would be directly hampered if the trade routes are going to be blocked. And the major trade routes, be it Chabur Port, be it Red Sea, these are going to be hampered. And this will not only affect the shipment, but there will be higher cost associated with it. And ultimately, there will be trade instability, which will be seen and which will gradually translate into higher prices. Apart from that, there will be a diplomatic tightrope for India. As I mentioned, India has diplomatic ties with both of the countries, and it would be difficult to understand which side to be taken and what are the challenges that lie ahead for India. Apart from that, let us understand what lies ahead in coming times. When we are talking about today, we just have seen the start and the retaliation. We have understood the consequences, but what about what we can expect in coming days? The first thing is definitely high risk of escalation. This strike can get and become a full-blown regional war, which can send global economic slowdown waves across. Apart from that, there is also possibility of potentially US military being involved in this regional bases if the regional bases are being attacked in the given region. Now, it is not going to be just US. There can be other allies' involvement as well, not just from the region, but from the other parts of globe as well. This will be a diplomatic opportunity. UN will be making efforts, EU will be making efforts so that this conflict is contained with a ceasefire. There will be a risk of long-term fallout if the negotiations are not handled well, and the negotiations, especially on the nuclear program, they collapse in coming time. Last that we see is the monitoring period. Over the next 72 hours are very important and critical, because they will be deciding the turn of this particular rivalry conflict that we are seeing between Israel and Iran. Now, that was all from my side. If you have any doubts or questions, you can put it down in the comment section. Let us know the topics that you want us to take and discuss. You can also tell us, this is the point where I'll asking you a question, that what should be India's stand in this particular context? Which are the sides that India should choose? And what are the challenges that India is going to face if it picks one particular side that you are mentioning? That was all from my side. Thank you so much.